Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Desert Knits. This is episode 13. I'm so glad that you've joined me today. If this is your first time, welcome, and if you've come back again, thank you and welcome back. Today I am drinking an Irish Death in a can. I've already recorded this once. The audio and video did not even come close to lining up. I think they were 2.5, 3 minutes off from one another. So I'm recording with a different program, software now, and we're going to see if this works out any better. My name is Laura. You can find me on the interwebs as loraclare or lora.clare. On Ravelry, I'm loraclare, and on Instagram, I'm lora.clare. I have a, what is that weaving site, Weevolution. I have an account there, and I think it's lora.clare. I signed up for it. I decided that the website is not as well laid out as Ravelry, even though Ravelry doesn't do much in the way of weaving. So really just Ravelry and Instagram are where you can find me most consistently. So I have a lot of stuff to share with you today. And when I say a lot, I mean like this pile here does not even come close to covering half of what I have to show you. Or even maybe it's a quarter of what I have to show you. So the episode is kind of going to combine works in progress with things that I got from Black Sheep and things that I've gotten in the mail and stuff that I am borrowing thanks to a purchase that I made at Black Sheep, or rather a purchase that was made in my place at Black Sheep. So let's get straight into it. Black Sheep Gathering was last weekend. I drove down there Thursday afternoon. I left here at 4 p.m. and I got to the fairgrounds where Black Sheep is held about 9:45 p.m. There was not a lot of traffic on the way down there, but from just outside of Hood River to the other side of Portland, it was pouring. Like, it wasn't just heavy rain. It was, my windshield wipers were going as fast as they could go, and everyone was driving at least 15, 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. That's how pouring it was. So it stopped raining on the other side of Portland. Thankfully, it wasn't raining down at Black Sheep in Eugene. I know sometimes weather can be interesting and forecasting can be interesting. So I was very thankful that the forecast was true and that it did not rain, though I think it was actually hotter than it was supposed to be. So I got there at like 9:45 at night. I had no idea where I was going. This is the first time that I've ever been to Black Sheep, and there were no signs up saying, okay, this is where you check in for, to prove that you paid for camping or anything. There was nothing. I saw tents and cars on one side of a fence, and then on the other side of the fence there were a lot of RVs and trailers, and that's where all of the sheep barns, where all of the goats and alpacas were, and it's where most of the fairgrounds and buildings were. So I walked into a building to see if I could find a bathroom, found a bathroom, and then I drove around to the other side of the fence and kind of looked around over there a little bit to see if I could find any kind of official, check-in, here's my receipt for paying for camping. There was nothing like that. So I pull up onto the grass in my car in front of some people who had set a little further back in the grass, set up an awning thing and a few tents. And I walk up and I ask, hey, would it be okay if I camped here right in front of you guys? And my friend Barb turns around. I had no idea that Barb would be meeting Leslie and Jan down there. Leslie and Jan are both from Tri-Cities, from where I am. And Barb moved from Tri-Cities a few years ago down to just outside of Bend, Oregon. So they met up there, and then I kind of crashed the party. I spent the weekend camping right in front of them. Thankfully, they were kind enough to include me and share food and coffee and camping advice. This was the first time that the tent that Ty and I had ever been set up or out of packaging, so I had to like rip everything out of the plastic and get it set up. It's a 2-person backpacking tent, so it was really easy to set up. There aren't a whole lot of poles or sleeves for poles or anything, but I had to go buy, once I got down there I realized I didn't have a tarp. So I had to go find the Walmart and go buy a tarp because it was late enough that nothing else was open. And then we stayed up and talked, oh gosh, I don't know, until midnight? 1 a.m.? Something like that. Something crazy. Especially because I had worked 5.5 hours on Thursday before spending 5 hours and 45 minutes driving. It was a long day. So the reason I left so late Thursday, well, not really late Thursday, but the reason I left Thursday afternoon was because I had an all-day class on Friday. So the class that I took on Friday was the Color Tricks in Spinning class with Janelle Laidman. And we spun all kinds of samples for class. And then rolled all of them onto these lovely paper tubes. I told her that next year, it might be worth going to the hardware store, for each of her students going to the hardware store and picking up a handful of the paint stir sticks, because it was kind of we had, they were like 5x7 index cards, but paper isn't even as heavy as cardstock. So it was really hard to roll the tubes into tubes and then roll the yarn around them. But we played with color, so the repeat length in color, fractal spinning, you can see where the colors kind of repeat. We played with different background colors on one foreground color, and with picking 2 braids and then using one as a background and one as a foreground, and then getting different tones of color, is that what it's called, out of the foreground in this is the blue, and the background would be the gradient from white to really dark gray. But we spun all of these little samples and then twisted them around the paper tubes just so we could see, how the different colors kind of work together and play with one another. Janelle Laidman used to be the owner of the Chameleon Colorworks dye studio, fiber studio, Etsy store thing. And one of the samples that we spun during class was a BFL sample of the colorway Lichen. Well, I decided that I had to have a whole 4-ounce braid of Lichen just for myself. A whole braid, not just, that much of a braid. And the braid that I picked is actually a Blueface Luster and Tussa Silk blend. I'm totally, oh, let's read my black. Okay. Hopefully that didn't mess anything up. I am totally and utterly in love with this color. Just in case the screen did mess up, I'm going to stop and restart. Okay, I don't think that anything went wrong. I'll put a little pretty picture in that cut section there of some sheets that I took while I was down at Black Sheep or something. Who knows? I'll put a picture of something in. Okay, so color and new braid. And then on Saturday, I took another all-day class. This class was the Novelty Yarns class with Judy Overbeek. I'm glad that I took the class because it definitely put me outside of my comfort zone with spinning. I'm very good at spinning a nice, even, no, it's kind of hard to tell on this, but it's a fairly medium to skinny weight single. I'm really good at spinning that kind of thing. I'm not good anymore, and I wasn't even very good when I first started spinning at spinning the lumpy bumpy stuff. I got pretty quickly into the spinning nice smooth. Obviously I didn't start skinny when I first started, but I didn't spin a lot of the lumpy bumpy beginner yarns. So we spun a lot of different, everything's inside each other, sorry, a lot of different novelty yarn samples, and you can see I have little tags hanging so I know what the heck I did to get this sample to look like this. So we did slubby things, evenly plied slubby things, and then we did the spiral plying technique. Oops, sorry, camera's that direction. So it's two singles, both are fairly evenly spun, but two very different weights, and then one is spiraling around the other one. Let me see if I can't pull it out. Let's see. Oh, focus. Come on. Anyways, it's spiraling around the other one. And then I decided to do a thick and thin spiral, which I actually really like the way that this one turned out. I don't have any idea what kind of project I would use it in, but it's a cool looking yarn. And then that was before lunch, and then we had a lunch break, which really means a run to the marketplace, or in my case, the fleece sale, and do what you can, and then go back to class, where we learned how to spin really fluffy stuff. So we did, these are basically the same thing. I'm probably never going to spin this stuff again, but it was interesting to learn the technique behind spinning it and have this as an option if I decide that I want to practice this technique. But they're essentially both variations on the same structure. And they're very fluffy, and it's mohair, and I'm not a huge fan of mohair. I'm just not. It's something I've accepted. It might change in the future, but I'm not a big fan of it right now. And then we spun a boucle, which I used my pocket wheel for the class. The pocket wheel may not be the best thing to spin a boucle yarn on because all of these little lumpy bits kind of got stuck. That little lumpy bit got stuck going around the corners to get wrapped onto the bobbin. The pocket wheel, I have it right here. The pocket wheel has a delta orifice, so it has this nice big open space. I don't ever need to use an orifice hook. There's just no point for me. So it has this nice big open space for my yarn to go through onto a hook, which then goes into a spirally thing and then around the bobbin. So it was from hook to spirally thing to bobbin, like this corner. Those corners, I was having issues with. I will probably try spinning a boucle again on maybe the Kromsky that you can see right behind me, if I can point that direction, right up there. Or I have an Ashford traditional in that closet over there, or a Louette S10 in the closet in the bedroom. So I'll probably try spinning a boucle sample on each of the wheels and see if one of the wheels is easier to spin. It doesn't get caught up on those corners like it did on the pocket wheel. So, I've already mentioned I took 2 all-day classes, and lunch break is kind of when we scattered and went and did all of the shopping, and then you came back to class and spent the rest of the afternoon learning more and spinning samples and stuff. Well, on Friday, during lunch break, I got out of class for lunch, went straight to the marketplace, and hunted for the Jenkins Turkish spindle booth, because I was sent on a mission by one of my friends who was unable to make it to Black Sheep to buy her a couple of the Jenkins finches. She had very specific desires. She liked lilac wood, king's wood, manzanita wood, and if he did any with ladybugs on them, that would be even better. So I managed to find a lilac wood with a ladybug on it, and a king's wood that first day. Ed actually pulled out a drawer. There were little bags. I've already said them, so I can't show you. But there were little bags with all of these Turkish spindles in them, and it was like the most magical drawer in the world. It was amazing. But he pulled that out and kind of dug through it for me when I said, I was looking for some pretty specific things for my friend who wasn't able to make it, and he was extremely kind to pull these ones out and set them up and let me see them and buy them straight out of the drawer instead of the ones that were displayed. And then, of course, I entered for the horn spindle drawing. He makes very few horn spindles every year for sale, and they have a drawing where you put your name and your phone number in, and you have to pay for and pick up that spindle that day if your name gets drawn. And you don't win the spindle, you win the opportunity to buy the spindle. Horn, I guess, I've never worked with it, but from what I read on the Jenkins website, it's a very difficult material to work with, so I understand completely the very limited number that he produces and the way that he sells them. I mean, there are so few that there's no way to live up to the demand, I guess, if he put them up on the website. So that was during my lunch break on the first day. And then, of course, I ran back to camp and grabbed something to eat and ran back to class. I do think that I didn't eat enough over the weekend or drink enough water because I was running all over the place while the classes were going and while the marketplace was open, because there was so much that I wanted to see. And the classes were from 9 a.m. to noon and then 1:30 to 4. Well, the marketplace itself and the sheep barn closed at 6. So I had 3.5 hours on Friday and Saturday to actually walk around and look at everything. Not a whole heck of a lot of time. So one thing that I've never actually done before is process a fleece start to finish. Pick out a raw fleece, wash it, process it, spin it, and then knit it into something. So I decided while I was down there that I wanted to get a couple fleeces. And on Friday there was a fleece sale. There were fleeces that were being judged, and then there were fleeces that were just brought for sale. I was in class during the sale time on Friday, so I didn't buy any from the just brought for sale thing because I couldn't find, I don't know anything about picking out a fleece. Leslie and Barb do, but I couldn't find them when I was on lunch to be like, hey, quick, spend 15 minutes looking at these fleeces with me and help me pick one. So instead of doing that, I, on Saturday's lunch break, for half an hour, the judged fleeces that were going to be for sale were, they have a preview time. It's like a half-hour preview time or 45-minute preview time where you can go in and look around and feel things and look and see what colors there are and what places things won and that kind of stuff. So Leslie and I was taking the all-day class and Leslie was taking an afternoon class. But Barb and Jan were not taking any classes. So Jan went and stood in line while we were looking at the fleeces, because there's a line that develops when people are done looking at the fleeces to actually go in and buy the fleeces. So Jan was in line. Leslie and I were running around and looking at things, and Barb was trying to help me because I've never bought a fleece. And Leslie actually raises Shetland, so she knows what to look for in a fleece, and she kind of, I mean, they were both trying to help me and look at things themselves, and we had a half hour. It was kind of hectic. So I went to class, and I texted Barb, and I was like, okay, let me know how it goes. I really wanted to know. I ended up the proud owner of 3 Romney fleeces, and then Barb actually bought a Cormo fleece and split it 4 ways, so each of us could get a quarter of the fleece, and Leslie bought a Coopworth fleece. Well, while Jan was in there, he noticed a little box that said free on it, and it turns out that little box had something like an ounce and a half of this really lovely light gray Angora fiber. So he grabbed that, and he actually split that with me. And then Leslie and I made plans for me to go over to her house because she has a lot of experience in washing fleece, and I don't. And she offered to help, and I very, very happily accepted her help. So I actually went over to her house yesterday and washed all 3 of my Shetland fleeces, or Romney fleeces. I have 3 different colors of Romney fleece with 3 very distinct personalities. So the lightest one is not actually white. It has little strands of gray and black through it, but it has a very loose crimp, and it is really shiny. Like it's pretty. And then the gray one that I have, this medium gray, is quite a bit crimpier. I don't know if you can tell with the video, but it's quite a bit crimpier, and it still has that really nice shine, like that really light colored one that I have. And then the third one has the most crimp of the 3, but it also has the shortest locks and the least amount of sheen. So it'll be really interesting to play with these 3 fleeces. The smallest fleece was like 5.5 pounds, and that's with all of the dirt weight in there. I'm not sure how much washed out when we washed them, but they weren't very dirty fleeces at all. So I have plenty to blend and see what shades I can make, and see how the different, if I blend these two, I'm going to have the sheen from this and the crimp from this. So does that mean that whatever yarn I make out of this is going to be a really nice yarn with a lot of good memory to it? I don't know. These are things that I get to play with. So, washed all 3 of those fleeces yesterday. I still have that little grocery bag quarter Cormo fleece that I need to wash, but I think that one's small enough that I can do it in my sink and in a plastic tub that I have. And now that the 3 whole fleeces are done, I know kind of how to do the Cormo on my own, and I'm going to try and do it without Leslie's help to see if I remember how to do it, because it's not much good my going over there and washing the fleeces if I don't know how to do it myself. And while I was over there, Leslie gave me a grocery bag full of Coopworth. So Coopworth, I guess, is a coarser wool. It has really, really nice crimp. This particular fleece does. I don't know how this compares to most Cormos. But it has really nice crimp. You can see the tips are kind of yucky. She washed this, and there's very little yucky stuff left in it, but some of the tips are, there we go, some of the tips are a little like crinkly, which I don't really, it doesn't seem to make a difference so far. They're not weak or anything. So this bag, when I brought it home yesterday, was quite a bit more full than this. This is all I have left. Last night, while I was watching some podcasts, I actually made a bowl full of combed top. So this is true combed top, not like the stuff that, not like this stuff that's all compressed and stuck together and done by a machine. This is like the lightest and fluffiest and airiest top that I have ever felt, that I've ever dealt with. And it's my first time combing top. I'm borrowing a pair of English combs from Leslie. I guess she hasn't used them in so long that they are like seriously dusty. But it's a 5-row comb. I've never used these before until last night. So it is a huge learning experience. I am up to date on my tetanus shot. They are very sharp. I don't know how I did it, but I did manage to, let's see if I can get that back in there. There we go. I did manage to get my finger right here. Just a tiny little thing. I don't remember doing it. I just looked down and I was like, oh hey, that's blood. I didn't even notice when I got cut. I don't know. I don't really actually know if it was when I was doing the combing thing or if it was when I was lashing on, because I'm not very good at either yet. I'm good enough to get a pile of, that's almost 3 ounces of combed top, but I'm not so good that I know really what I'm doing. I'll get better. I have a lot of fleece to practice with. So I'm going to hopefully finish this bag of Coopworth in the next couple days, and then start spinning it. Another thing that I got while I was down there, Jan was kind enough to share from, like I said, Leslie earlier. Leslie raises Shetland. Well, Jan has purchased quite a few of her Shetland fleeces, so he had this pillowcase, and he decided that he was just going to pull a bunch of fiber in a bunch of different colors that he had purchased and sent off and had processed for him. I have no idea how much fiber is here, but it is easily half of the pillowcase. Like, I could go to sleep, it's so squishy. But this is all Shetland from Leslie's farm, about 20 minutes from here. And he just gave me a bunch of it to try it out, because I've not dealt with this kind of thing before. I'm used to this kind of thing. Yeah. So I have 3 Romney fleeces, this little bag of Coopworth left, that stuff that's all ready to spin, a quarter of a Cormo fleece, and like half an ounce to an ounce of Angora honey to play with. And then I get to play with making all of these things different colors. Because I kind of decided after I dyed that yarn earlier this year with the dandelion flowers that it would be a lot of fun to try dyeing with. One of the parks has huge black-eyed Susan like bushes, and I know that black-eyed Susan can be used to dye, so I think it would be interesting to blend up some of these things and see what each fleece color ends up looking with different natural dyes on them. Anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Oh, Coopworth washing, Shetland. I decided very, very, very last minute that Tour de Fleece started yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And I decided that it would be fun to participate with the Jenkins group and do the Tour de Fleece with my little lark on the J shaft. So it's the shorter shaft. So I can sit on my couch and spin. I can cuddle my dog and spin. There's nothing better, right? So I'm going to try and spin as much of this pillowcase as I can on this for the Tour de Fleece. I'm not sure how much I will get, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna see if I can't spin at least like 4 ounces, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but with marathon training and work, and because I still want to work on the Coopworth and I did make progress. My Princess Bride spin along. Don't want it all to fall out of the hole. I'm just barely over halfway through this fiber. This fiber is so much fun with all of the different colors within each color. So I have my Bristlecone Wish Goddess with the brown, my Mirkwood Hawk, what's that, with a light blue, and then I actually have, this is part of Stash as well, with the business card go. KCL Woods. This is a support spindle by this guy. He was a really nice guy. I got a picture with him too. This is a support spindle that he made with a maple burl and a maple shaft, which actually screw in and out of one another. So if for whatever reason the shaft breaks, I can replace it very easily. I really like that idea. I wasn't the biggest fan. He did a lot with polymer clay, have to admit, not really the biggest fan. This is the only one I found that I actually really enjoyed both the shape, the way it's spun, and the wood. So this may be the only KCL wood support spindle that I ever get, but I do like this one quite a bit. And then I also got a woodland woodworking acorn spindle, which I love the little acorn. It's so cute. I was really excited to see him here because I've looked at his website before. Excuse me. I've looked at his website before, and everything is always out of stock. And when he has an update, it's gone before I can get to it. So I got to choose for what he had there, and I had a really hard time choosing between 3 of them, but I decided the acorn. And next year, if he's there, or if he's at off, because I would really like to go to off, if he's at off, then maybe I'll get another one. Because I definitely have enough fiber now. I don't need to buy any more of that. But tools, I can always buy. Let's see, so that kind of covered works in progress and stash from Black Sheep. So, when I got back from Black Sheep, I mailed, I didn't tell you, the friend that I bought those 2 finches for, sent her pictures, and she really loved them. And then she asked if she could PayPal me a little bit more money so I could buy her a 3rd finch. So she PayPal'd me a little bit more money, and I bought her a 3rd finch. And the one that I bought her is the 3rd wood that she really liked, the manzanita wood. So she ended up with 3 finches. And then she's already gotten the package, so I don't feel bad disclosing what she got in her package as well. I sent her some alpaca. There was a lady in the marketplace who had a whole booth just full of alpaca, natural colored alpaca, dyed locks, Suri alpaca, and Hayaka alpaca. I don't really know how to say it, sorry. But she also had a little hand-cranked drum carder. So I got a bunch of colors and kind of went crazy with the drum carder and carded a little, it's like 1 ounce, 1¼ ounces or something, that. And then I picked out a few more ounces in a light brown and a medium brown and packaged those up with the Turkish spindles and sent them to her. And then the next day she texted and she said, here's a tracking number, I'm sending something to you. She sent me the cutest little ended Ashcroft midge. This is another Turkish spindle, and it's so tiny, it's adorable. I'm in love. It's so cute. And then she also sent this beautiful rainbow braid. There's like every color possible in this. It is Felt Studio UK in faux cashmere, soy silk, and tencel 60-20-20. So it's a vegan fiber, but it doesn't have a colorway. So I think some of the soy silk came loose and got in my nose. So it's so pretty, but no colorway. So I don't have any idea if it's repeatable or if she has more of them or anything. I've not been to the website because I'm trying not to tempt myself, because I have like 16-17 pounds of fiber that I need to process and spin before Black Sheep next year. So no adding to the stash because I have pounds of fiber now, which is very exciting to me. I'm not going to run out of anything anytime soon. Now, something I forgot to mention while I was talking about Black Sheep and the Jenkins booth, that horn spindle drawing. I got one. I got the tiniest one. It is the cutest thing ever. So, to compare sizing, this is a standard Coke can, beer can size thing. Ta-da! The Midge, which in her note she said is similar in size, I guess, to the Jenkins Cthulhu, which is the smallest one that he makes. But I guess I don't know if it's similar in size or just similar because it's small. I don't know. Her note just says similar, so I'm assuming similar in size. It's like half as big. It's tiny, and it is dainty, and it is amazing. When I first started this cup on here, let's see if I can focus. Focus. When I first started this cup on here, it actually had kind of a hard time sustaining a spin. But as I built the cup up, it stayed spinning longer. I need to get used to this whole focusing on the thing I want to focus on. But I've been packing this around very securely in my plastic Tupperware with a bunch of padding in the form of other fiber, and spinning this at work during my breaks. So running is something that I most definitely did not do while I was at Black Sheep. I stayed up really late. I did not sleep very well. I did not eat as much as I probably should have because I was not sleeping very well and staying up very late. So I didn't run. There were very few shower facilities. I think there were 2 showers for all of the women who were staying at Black Sheep. So I showered once. One night it was just so cold. I ended up waking up at like 5:30, 5:45, something like that. And I went over to the bathroom, and the shower was empty. So I ran back to my camp, and I grabbed the towel, and I just stood under the hot water. I just stood under the hot water for like 5-10 minutes, just so I could get warm again. And then I was up for the rest of the day. But I actually brought baby wipes to use as my camping shower because I wasn't sure if there would be a shower at all. So the fact that I brought a towel was kind of I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this, but I'm going to bring it anyways. I'm not going to bring any soap because I have to bring baby wipes because I'm not sure if there's actually going to be a shower. So if I shower, it's purely for the comfort of the hot water factor. Luckily, it worked out pretty well. But no running. And then on the way back, there was so much traffic. It took me like an extra 2 hours to drive back because from Eugene to Portland was horrid. I don't have any idea why. Like there were a few fender benders that I saw, but I'm pretty sure that was just because it was so slow. I have no idea why it was so slow. But it is what it is. It took me forever to get home. I got home, took a shower, went straight to sleep, and got up the next day, had to go to work for 10.5 hours. Got home, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, went to work for 10.5 hours. I was exhausted. I did like nothing else. No spinning. No, nothing. Wednesday morning, I finally started running again. I did 3 miles very slowly Wednesday morning because I was still just wiped out. And then Thursday, when I got home, I actually went and took a nap. I did run Thursday morning before work. Ended up doing like 5.5 miles or something, which is what I was supposed to do on Wednesday. I did like 3 miles on Wednesday. I skipped an entire day of running that week. I skipped my long run while I was at Black Sheep. So I figured, hey, I'll ease back into it. I'm really tired. The fact that I'm getting out is really good. So I ran 5.5 miles before work on Thursday. Got home from work. Thursday I only have to work 5.5 hours. Got home from work and slept for like 4.5, 5 hours, something like that. Got up, had dinner, hung out with Ty for a little while, went back to bed at a somewhat reasonable time. I think it was like 10:30 or 11. And then Friday morning, I woke up really early. Why did I wake up so early? I think I was going to go out back and take care of stuff in the garden, work on the tomatoes some, do some pruning and some tying up. But I don't think I actually did. I don't remember. I know that we went over to Dream's Barn, but I don't think I went out back. And then I took a nap in the afternoon. And then yesterday I woke up really early again and did a long run. Yesterday I did 7.5 miles, which isn't as long as my long run was supposed to be, but it was what I did. I was supposed to do 10 miles yesterday. I was 2.5 miles short. I took some time off. I'm getting back into it. I was tired. And it got really hot. So then I went out back and did stuff in the garden, and then I came inside and showered and went over to Leslie's and spent all afternoon with Leslie, which was amazing. It was so much fun. But yeah, not as much running as I should have done. So tomorrow I will start up again. I will be waking up early and going for a 4-mile run, and I am actually working tomorrow. Yay, retail. So I'm working tomorrow, and I will be probably waking up early enough that I can run and then spend a good 45 minutes to an hour in the garden before I have to go to work. And then we get to sit with the horse when I get off of work to make sure that he does not freak out with fireworks. So, yeah. Keep your eye on Instagram if you want to see how that goes. I don't know how he is with fireworks. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Thank you for joining me today. I'm very glad to have been able to chat with you. The webcam that I'm using has been causing me some issues still. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm apparently not very tech savvy, even though I've grown up with the stuff. So, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again in a couple weeks. And have fun spinning and knitting, and keep an eye on my Instagram if you want to see how the horse thing goes. Bye!